while we're collaborating here and in the spirit of collaboration, I'd like to bring forward a motion that incorporates both C4 so that we can get that passed out of this committee, and also another really pressing issue that's taken up a lot of not just resources out of Canada, but also it's very concerning the alarming rate that it's increasing. So the committee undertake a subsequent study on the use of offshore tax havens, given that Canada's weak rules on offshore subsidiaries, tax treaties, and limited enforcement by the Canada Revenue Agency have made our country both a conduit and a destination for tax avoidance, costing taxpayers billions of dollars in lost revenue each year and inviting white-collar crime into Canada. And that, for the purposes of this study, the committee hold no fewer than 6 meetings and invite the following witnesses. 1. Officials from the Department of Finance. 2. Officials from the Canada Revenue Agency. 3. The Parliamentary Budget Officer. 4. Representatives from law enforcement agencies with expertise in financial crimes. 5. Tax policy experts. And 6. Any other witnesses the committee deems relevant. The Conference Board of Canada estimates tax evasion and avoidance costs the federal government $8.9 billion to $47.8 billion each year. Tax fairness advocates and even CRA whistleblowers have raised concerns that Canada's weak rules on offshore subsidiaries, tax treaties, and limited enforcement by CRA have made our country both a conduit and a destination for tax avoidance. We've seen the Liberal crime wave and weak enforcement of anti-money laundering rules that don't help either. The CRA identified more than $76 million in taxes owed by Canadians are named in the Panama and Paradise Papers. How can Canadians, let alone the government workers who are supposed to enforce tax rules, supposed to take their job seriously when the Prime Minister has been involved in tax havens himself? When he was chair of Brookfield, he used offshore tax havens of Bermuda to stash his company's profits beyond the reach of CRA. For the Liberals, there's a 2-tier tax code, one for the rich like the Prime Minister and his friends, and one for the rest of us. While we double-check our tax returns to make sure we don't make a mistake and end up getting audited, the Prime Minister's friends dodge taxes while his government taxes us more to make up the difference. And while the CRA and the government let this go on, the CRA writes off over $5 billion in corporate taxes and then goes after small businesses and charities instead. Conservatives included in our platform a commitment to closing tax loopholes for the wealthy and well-connected, like this Prime Minister. We committed to redirecting the CRA resources away from harassing small businesses and charities and instead focusing on cracking down on offshore tax havens. We committed to creating a name and shame list for wealthy multinational corporations that are dodging taxes and refusing to pay their fair share. And just last week, our colleague Conservative MP Adam Chambers introduced a PMB in the House creating a sunshine list exposing corporations who get CRA tax write-offs. These are good policies, but we need to hear from more experts on how to address the gaps in enforcement and legislation. Canadians are struggling now more than ever with the cost of living, the debt burden, and the rising crime under the last 10 years of the Liberals. Closing the tax loopholes that allow for avoidance and use of tax havens will save Canadian taxpayers from higher taxes and could prevent even larger deficits.